Educational GMAT. Your partner in your GMAT journey.
This is quite an involved question. Go through it and then perhaps we can do it together actually. Yeah. Quite an elaborate question. This is an official question as well. It does take time to understand and to solve. So each robot will result in annual labor cost savings of 150,000 euros, beginning with the year of its installation, and will have an upfront cost of 400,000 euros. For robot installation in year one, the company will budget 600,000 euros plus the total amount of labor costs that will be saved by robotic production in that year. The robot installation budget for each subsequent year will consist of the total amount of labor costs that will be saved by robotic production in that year, plus any money left over from the previous year's robot installation budget. Now, within the budget constraints, and this is all about constraints, the maximum number of robots that can be installed in year one of the program, we have to choose one among these, and the maximum number of robots that can be in service in year three. Again, for this, we have to choose one of these. Installed in year one, maximum number of robots that can be installed in year one. Okay, let's look at year one. Guys, let's look at year one. Year one. Now, can you tell me the budget? And let's also look at the expenses, right? Let's also look at the expenses. Now, year one, if we decide to install one robot, can you tell me what will the budget that we have at hand? If the decision is to install one robot, what budget do we have at hand? Sorry? How much budget do we have? If we install one robot, see, notice in year one, the company is anyway budgeting 600,000 euros, correct? In addition, since we are installing one robot, this robot will result in labor cost savings of 150,000 euros. And notice, this is given to us for robot installation in year one, the company will budget 600,000 plus the total amount of labor cost that will be saved by robotic production in that year. Right? So if we install one robot, then the budget that we have at our disposal is how much? 600,000 plus, since we are installing one robot, we will be, this will result in a labor cost of 150,000 euros. Are we clear? So that is the total budget available. How much are the expenses? Very nice. How much are the expenses? Obviously, since we are installing one robot, the expenses would be 400,000. Since we are installing one robot, the expenses would be 400,000. All right. So is one robot possible? Yes, because the budget that we have, which is 750,000, is more than the $400,000 expenses. So one is possible. Okay. How about two? One is possible. How about two? If we plan to install two robots, how much is the budget? 600,000 is the budget that the company has allocated, plus two robots, each resulting in 150,000 labor savings. Correct? That's the budget. And how much will be the expenses? 2 into 400,000, right? Because each robot costs 400,000. So is 2 possible? Notice this is the budget is total how much? 900,000. Expenses 800,000. So which means 2 is also a possibility. All right. Let's look at if the plan is to install 3 robots. How much will be the budget? 600,000 plus 3 into 150,000. That's the budget. And how much will be the cost? 3 into 400,000. Right? So is 3 a possibility? If we look at the budget, that's 1,050,000 and the cost is 1.2 million, the expenses. So clearly expenses are more than the budget. So which means 3 is not a possibility, right? So maximum number of robots that can be installed in year 1 is how many? 2, right? So 3 is not a possibility. So let's remove 3 here from here. So far so good. Now we come on to year 2. Year 2, can you tell me how much is the budget? This is this very nice, very nice. So year 2, notice the robot installation budget for each subsequent year means year 2 and subsequent, will consist of the total amount of labor cost that will be saved by robotic production in that year, plus any money left over from the previous year's robot installation budget. Now, since we are going with 2 robots, notice the budget was how much? 900,000 and the expenses were 800,000. So how much is the leftover money? $100,000. And if we buy, if we if we install one additional robot, mind you, 100,000 was the money left over from year 1 plus very nice 3 into 150,000. Now, where are we coming with this figure of 3? Because we had installed 2 robots in year 1, one additional robot in year 2, which means in year 2 we have a total of 3 robots in service, with each robot resulting in labor cost savings of 150,000 euros. So this is the total budget. How much will be the expenses since we are buying one robot in year 2? So, and each robot costs 400,000, right? So how much do we have, guys? How much do we have? 550,000 is the budget. 400,000 are the expenses. So this is definitely a possibility. How about if we buy 2 robots in year 2? In that case, the budget is 100,000. That was the money left over from year 1. Plus, now we would have 4 robots total in operation in year 2, with each robot resulting in $150,000 of savings. And how much will be the expenses? 2 robots in year 2, each robot costing $400,000. Now, how much is the budget, guys? 700,000. And the expenses are 800,000. So clearly not possible, right? So which means 2 robot is not a possibility, and hence we remove it. Hence we remove it. All right. Now, finally, let's come to year 3. Year 3, let's say we install 1 robot. Can you tell me how much is the budget that we have? Obviously, we need to first calculate the money left over from year 2. How much was the budget? 550,000, and the expenses were 400,000. So which means the money that we are left with from year 2 is 150,000. And now, how many robots do we have in operation in year 3? 2 from year 1, 1 from year 2, and another one from year 3. So total of 4. So 4 robots, with each robot resulting in $150,000, euro saving. And how much will be the expenses? Since we are buying 1 robot, 400,000 would be the expenses. So how much is the budget, guys? 750,000. How much are the expenses? 400,000. So this is clearly possible. All right. How about if we buy 2 robots in year 3? How much will be the budget? How much will be the budget, friends? 150,000. That is the money saved, left over from year 2. Plus now we will have 5 robots in operation in year 3, each resulting in 150,000 euros of saving. And since we are buying 2 robots, the total expenses would be this, right? 2 robots, each costing $400,000. So how much is the budget, guys? 900,000. And how much are the expenses? 800,000. So this is clearly possible. This is clearly possible. Okay, how about if we plan to buy 3 robots in year 3? In that case, the budget would be $150,000 or euros, sorry, which was the leftover money from year 2. And now we will have 6 robots in operation in year 3, with each robot costing us 150,000 euros. And how much will be the expenses? 3 robots, with each robot costing 400,000. Right? So how much is the budget? This is 1,050,000, and this is 1.2 million. So clearly the expenses are more than the budget. So which means this is not a possibility. This is not a possibility. So finally, how many robots are in service in year 3? 2 for year from year 1, 1 from year 2, and 2 additional from year 3. So that makes a total of 5, right? So the final answer would be 2 can be installed in, maximum of 2 can be installed in year 1, and a maximum of 5 robots would be in service in year 3. As I said, quite an involved and slightly lengthy process, but I don't think there is a shortcut possible per se. Any doubt, guys? Are we clear? Got me clear? Tell me. No, I am saying if we go ahead with installing 1 robot in year 3, then how much will be the budget? This is the money left over. No, 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 no. The plan would be either to install 1 robot. How about if we install 2 robots? Yes. If the plan is to install 2 robots, then this is the total amount of money that we would have. And this would be the total expenses. So since the budget that we have at hand exceeds the total expenses, so we will rather go with this plan than this plan, although both are feasible. But why are we going with this plan? Because the intent is to maximize the number of robots. Are we clear?